Hello, thank you for joining me today at Sister Friends Cups and Conversation. I'm your host, Teresa Cooper, and we're getting ready to talk about our children in crisis and mental health. Are you ready? Let's talk. Hello, welcome to Sister Friends Cups and Conversation. I'm glad that you've joined me today. I'm Teresa Cooper, your host, and I got my co-host with me. Yes, Miss Catherine Young.
Good to be here again.
Yes.
I'm excited.
You know, Kathy, this has been a great 8th season.
It has, and it's been, you're going to enjoy these seasons. They have been, this season, season 8, it has been powerful.
Yes.
Yeah, it's been great. Some really meaningful conversations, very necessary. And today we're going to go a little bit deeper with a topic that we've covered before, but we're going to do it from a different angle.
Mm-hmm.
And so today we have two ladies at the table, our reoccurring guests, Miss Rose Ashley.
Hi.
Glad to have you back.
Thank you for
You
having
look
me back.
lovely in your pink.
Thank you
Mhm.
so much.
Yes, and
Thank
then
you.
today we have a new sister friend at the table, Miss Fanetta Houston.
Hello.
Yes, Fanetta, it's good to have you.
Thank y'all for having me.
Yes.
I'm at the table.
Yes. Now tell us a little bit about yourself, Fanetta.
Okay, so I am a licensed professional counselor.
Okay.
So that's my title, LPC. I work with Volunteers of America, North Louisiana, and I'm a clinician as well as the clinical supervisor.
Okay,
Okay.
awesome. In the community.
Yes, I
Yes.
work for DeSoto Parish. So we
Okay.
have Caddo Parish, but we
Mhm.
also have DeSoto Parish.
Wonderful. Well, we're
That's
glad to have you
great.
here at the table. And Fanetta and Miss Rose are going to be our professionals here at the table today.
Ooh, no
Yes.
pressure.
Because, now, Rose, tell us a little bit about where you work and.
So I currently work at Acadiana Legal Service Corporation. We're a nonprofit law firm.
Okay.
And we are working to build up a case management and social work department there to assist with child in need of care cases with the attorneys.
Oh, okay.
So that's what I do
Interesting.
now.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, but you did do counseling therapy.
Yes, I do have most of my background is in counseling and therapy, as far as behavioral health with children and families, as well as medical social work.
Okay. So we've got some well-equipped women at the table.
Some real professionals.
Yes. Yeah. Come on, Kathy. So our cup for today is, it's a little peacock. It was a gift.
It's beautiful.
And it's
It's so
very,
beautiful.
very lovely. I love
my gosh.
beautiful cups. And I thought about this cup because today we're going to be talking about children in crisis. And we're going to be talking about children in crisis with mental health and what that looks like and how we can help families while their young people, their children are having mental health issues and concerns. And so I thought it's a delicate topic. I'm going to get a very delicate cup today in
Yes.
honor of that.
How fitting.
And so this is my cup, and our sister friends have their sister friends
Yes,
cups.
we do. It's so cute.
Yes.
I'm here for it.
So you know what? I'm here for it too. I love a great cup.
Yes.
Okay.
And I like to, no matter what I'm drinking, if it's hot, it has to be cute.
I agree
It just
with
adds
you.
that little extra.
Absolutely.
does.
And when I
It
did
goes down better. It's
Yes,
sweeter.
yes. And then when I did a DNA thing, and I found out that I have like 20% of British.
Oh,
Lord.
We're gonna milk it.
That's
right.
I
Milk
like
it.
the tea.
You tap into your British.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. And so just a little backstory. Yes, she's 20% European.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh my God.
So talking about mental health.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. our children are in crisis.
They
Absolutely.
are.
And I thought that this was so important for us to talk about because, you know, it's an important conversation, and as adults, it should be really paramount for us as adults, whether we're parents or not parents, to guard and to be concerned about their innocence, their
Yes.
safety, and the quality of their mental health. So let's talk about it. I do have a question for both of you. Can you kind of give us a little backstory of what your opinion is personally and professionally about the changes that's happened within the last 5 years with just our children and their mental health? Because it's now it's at the conversation. You know what I mean? The conversation has been very elevated. Before, it was one of those keep it in the closet, you hush hush, you talk about it to certain people. You don't really, you know. But because I think the whole family, parents, adult children, minor children, everybody's having some type of mental health crisis or trauma, or you know, just the little cracks.
Yeah.
It's true.
And it's caused them to be more aware that they can text a therapist, they can call a therapist, they can go to a therapist. And so, can you tell us a little bit about what you're experiencing, Miss Finetta?
So, just being in the schools, because we do have our counselors based in the schools.
Okay.
So if there's any kind of crisis, our counselors are available, and they have kids that are enrolled as well.
Okay.
So what we're seeing, especially post-COVID, so in the DeSoto area, we've seen a lot of loss from COVID because a lot of them live with grandparents. We've seen a lot of anxiety just around being in school. And we've seen a lot of depression as well as suicidal thoughts with our kids. So we've seen a spike in like just kids thinking about suicide, but a lot of it stems around them thinking, I don't really want to kill myself. I just don't want to be sad. I don't want to be, you know,
they don't
I
know
don't
how
want
to
to
handle
feel alone.
the emotions.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And they don't know that they have options.
Okay.
So it's seeing the depression, seeing the anxiety. It's a spike, but I think a lot of it has to do with social media as well.
Okay.
So
Yes.
is the air.
So you're saying that since COVID?
Yes.
Oh my.
Yeah, in the last, I was thinking it had to have increased within the last 5 years. So that would include maybe a little bit before COVID, and then the 3 years of COVID, and then now after.
Right.
You know, how about you, Miss Rose?
My.
So I think what I'm seeing, I would agree with everything Finetta said, but I think also I'm also seeing a sense of urgency because people are becoming more trauma informed. They're becoming more aware. The parents are. They know the signs of it. I think a lot of times I've seen children come in with suicidal ideation and a suicide attempt, and like she said, a lot of them don't necessarily want to die. They just want to stop feeling whatever it is that they're feeling.
Right.
And they don't really know how to handle that. And a lot of times I'm also seeing that those children may feel this way on Monday and they don't know how to handle that feeling of anxiety, or they may be triggered. And then by Friday, between being bullied at school, issues going on at home, by Friday, they're just like on 100 and they just do something that kind of seems like they spaz out. So I'm seeing that. But then I'm also seeing a lot of specializations also. You have family functional therapy specializations popping up, but you also have family functional therapy with child welfare, meaning children that are in the child welfare system.
Okay.
The programs are specially designed to have them stay in the home. There's also home builders programs that are based out of Washington State. There's also just different avenues that people can use to bring the entire family in to help the child.
Right.
Because it's not just enough to help the child. You have to help the entire unit as a family.
But don't you think that sometimes that's the stigma, and that could be the thing that keeps them away? Is because the whole family may not want to participate, or the mom is available but the dad doesn't want to come, or you know what I'm saying? Just preparing for this, you know, the thing that kept coming to my mind is our children only have one childhood. They don't get a repeat.
Right.
So as adults, it becomes all of our responsibilities to be the gatekeepers of just really protecting their childhood and making sure that they have one. Let me ask you this: do you think that sometimes the children, the increase in anxiety and not being able to have that emotional intelligence and control that they may need to manage all of the emotions, do you think that that could come from
The social media or different things that
from
they're
the
seeing?
parents? Yeah, I'm
Yes.
sorry. From parents or grandparents, whoever the caregivers are giving them too much information about the world.
Yes, news.
That they know too much.
Yes,
That they can know too much too soon. Like
Absolutely.
there's a time for them to know about it, certain things.
Yeah.
Right.
But I think we're at an age now where it's such an information age that even parents are jumping the gun and telling their kids about certain things.
Oh yeah.
And so that is a greater heighten of anxiety and an awareness, and they don't know how to manage it.
Right.
Especially when they see it on social media.
Yes, absolutely.
Because they're comparing themselves to things on social media. If you just stay on TikTok for a little while, it's every conspiracy you could think of out there. And so you can't monitor that, you know, if the child is just watching. So then the parent would have to come and put some parental guidance and some boundaries on social media, what their kids could see. Because even in school, kids are sending other kids stuff over the phones.
Yes.
They're seeing a bunch of different things.
Yeah. And I think there's two things that should be addressed. I think number one, I think what you said was good about there needs to be some sort of discernment and covering over the children. Parents need to be more cognizant. And that just really goes to a lack of boundaries. Some things are just inappropriate for a certain age.
That's right.
And I've had to educate parents a lot of times just on their developmental age mentally. You know, you don't need to talk about that. And a lot of times those parents need their own mental health.
Yes.
And they're just venting and telling their child what's going on. They don't understand that child can't, navigate that. And I think number two, I think parents should also take more of an accountability. I think a lot of times they want to blame influencers and celebrities and the teachers and the system, but that is your child. That's your responsibility. You brought that child into this world, and yet was it easier when I was younger? For things to be monitored? It was. However. The thing with these parents also, especially, I'll say me as a parent, I'm aware of the phone. I was a teenager when, I was
you're dating yourself. Okay.
I was, I was around when social media first came out. So, I understand how social media works. We were there when all these things kept popping up. So we know how to navigate. We know how to protect. So I think there should be on the parents as well. There needs to be a certain level of accountability.
Absolutely.
Let me ask you a question when you're talking about parents. How are the parents responding? Like if they talk to a counselor in school or a guidance counselor, something like that, and then they tell them, okay, we might have a problem here with some mental health things or some things going on. And so the parents are kind of, my child ain't crazy. Ain't nothing wrong. They focus it around crazy, and that's not always the case. How are the parents responding when they get that talk from, the guidance counselor said, let's address some issues? Because I think a lot of times kids don't get what they need because parents are embarrassed.
Right.
Or they don't want to talk about it. What are you finding out?
Well, it's a few things. The main three I can say is one, embarrassment, shame. Another is fear.
Yes. Okay.
Because especially when we contact parents about a suicide crisis.
Okay.
The first thing that goes in their mind, well, I didn't know my child was thinking this, or I didn't know that this was going on. So when they're coming in, that fear comes out as anger. Or that fear comes out as, how dare you? Why are you judging me? But at the heart of it, we've had so many parents come to our clinicians and myself as well and say, thank you. Because I know now. So a lot of it is fear, shame, embarrassment. But you do have some that are just, they don't want to be bothered with it. Like they'll say, well, oh, she's just acting out, or he's
Right.
just
Yeah.
doing that for
Yeah,
attention,
that,
or they're just doing XYZ. So you do see that as well. But I know for the most part, it's really that fear, like it's here. Some parents may have had a thought that it was.
Right, but
Uh-huh.
now
But
this is
Yes.
been
right.
verified.
It's
This
been
is, so now this
verified.
is reality.
Yes.
Yes.
I can't hide from that
Right. You can't
anymore.
run from it
Yeah.
anymore.
So I think it's
Right.
important to distinguish between regular, childhood behaviors
Mhm.
and what's normal, what's
Mhm.
growing up, just the
Mhm.
normal, angst of
Mhm.
going from 3rd to 5th grade.
Right.
6th grade. I can remember 6th grade like it was yesterday. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? The
Yeah.
middle school years and what's normal for teenagers. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So being able to decipher between what's the normal, function of life and growing up versus what's abnormal, what's part of, something that you need to quickly pay attention to.
Mhm.
What are some of the triggers or the markers in y'all's profession? Do they give you those, like, this is normal, adolescent behavior? This is not normal.
So I'll say the biggest thing that I see with children, especially when you get to that preteen, teenager phase in this day and age, is sex.
No,
Mhm.
I
And
didn't think you was gonna say that.
It's there.
well, I want
What's
to
that got
say
to do with
that.
it?
Well, I'll say that because you have trauma that will affect and have children act out a
Okay.
certain kind of way. And what happens is it's a big issue because these parents, a lot of them don't understand the difference between normal behavior for a preteen versus abnormal behavior.
Okay.
And so a child could just be developing normally.
Right.
Like they just may be interested in girls.
Right.
And then I'll have a parent tell me, they're acting out sexual. I'm like, because he likes a girl?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
big
You
man.
know, yeah.
Right.
But once
Okay.
again, that
Right.
comes back to the parents having some issues.
Right. Okay.
And then allowing their issues to put certain expectations on their children
Right.
that don't line up with their appropriate age.
Okay.
And so then when you also, talk about trauma, and then they begin acting out in the preteen and teen phase, you have a period. So if a child experiences trauma maybe at 3 or 4 years old, there are some cases where trauma could go back to 2 years old, where the child can remember that. They may act out like a few years after that, about 6 years old, 7 or 8 to about 11. You may see some latency, but then when that preteen phase happens, something clicks because all those tools and all that attachment and all that trust and all that identity development begins to come into adolescence.
Yes.
Well, let me ask you this for in real time for those that are watching, that said, well, no, I need you to just give me some more markers, like for a 5th grader or a 6th grader to the parents calling them and they're not responding or they're walking slow towards you, you know what I mean, and you're like calling them. That's like normal behavior. Slam a door, go in a room.
Yeah.
But now if they go in the room and they pull themselves away from the entire family, don't want to engage the family, don't want to eat with the family, don't, you know what I mean? Like they become a hermit in the room, or they get lost in their the headphones,
The gaming and
the
all
gaming,
that.
and there's no social activity, and they don't shower, and would that
That's
are those
definitely a
things?
thing. Yes.
That's leaning
To answer your
towards-
question, yes.
That ain't normal.
But mine was going too
Now,
far. Yes,
You
that
may
is.
have some stinky feet. Maybe a little messy, but if you just
No, not showering, wandering at nighttime,
Okay.
not able to sleep,
Okay.
explosive behavior,
Right.
not just kind of having, but like continuous explosive
In
behavior.
different settings as well.
Yeah.
Not just at home. You see
no
that
matter
in
where
public.
they go.
You see it at school, like those things for sure. And the
Okay.
isolation for sure. So, some kids, especially this day and age, they do tend to be on their own. But if you have kids that are constantly shut up in the room or constantly looking at a screen or looking at a game or just not engaging at all, then that's something you really need to pay attention to.
And a
Okay.
lot of sleeping also.
Yes.
Sleeping in class.
Well, sleeping is good
Not
when you're
all the
growing.
time.
When you're
But a lot of
growing.
But a lot of times when a child is going through a major depression or
Yeah.
anxiety, them
Right.
sleeping in class and then being up all night, that's really.
I saw a
Yeah.
video on the, I think Kathy sent me this video.
I might have.
A lady was saying, Jesus slept on the boat.
Yes, yes.
No,
yes.
they ain't
Daniel
Jesus.
slept in the lion's den.
That is not
Come on
Jesus.
here.
No.
So why can't I sleep in a bed?
No,
No.
sleeping in class is a no.
Yeah.
Coming home and just sleeping, and then just when they get around certain people, also
Right.
they just kind of shut down or they get really anxious, and things are running away.
Mhm.
Of course, there's another one. You just kind of you really have to be into and pay attention. Grades dropping all of a
Yes.
sudden.
And I know
Yes.
one that's people don't usually look for, and we start to see a spike in, is the overachievers. Because
Okay.
you have
Yes.
those kids that are in everything, that are doing all these different
Yes.
things, and those are the ones we see a lot with the depression, and the
Okay.
ones that do come out and they're suicidal. So it's like you have to be mindful too. Even if they're doing great, check in.
Yeah.
Because sometimes the pressure of that itself
Absolutely.
can be a lot for a child.
That's scary.
Yeah.
That was recently, like last year, that happened with a college student, very popular, and just overall good grades, all the clubs. And then something happened. She killed herself. Nobody knew nothing.
Yeah.
Not even her family, because it was surprising for them because she was happy all the time. Grades good. She was social. And all of a sudden, it just shocked everybody. So when you said it was a spike in that, I was like, yeah, we're seeing that a lot now.
Yeah.
And I think, too, there could be a connection with us not being able, as adults in all sectors, not being able to verbalize in a good context that it's okay to fail,
Right.
or not to be number
That's
one,
good. That's good.
or you know what I mean, that everybody can't win
Yeah.
Right.
at the same time.
Exactly.
And so I think you
That's
have
a big one.
That is a big
That is
one.
a big
because
one.
everyone's trying to get their child in the best school on the right team, trying to get instant success or
Yeah.
fame, the right clique of friends.
Right.
And so then when something goes wrong or they don't get what they were expecting, even if they've worked hard for it, but they
Right.
just didn't get it,
Yeah.
they have their reaction to it, their response to it sometimes is more of a self-hate
Yes.
Right.
and a
That's true.
complete psychotic
Exactly.
breakdown
Yeah.
That's true.
because they didn't. You told me that if I did this would happen.
Yeah.
And so we have to be better at teaching them that the world isn't fair.
That's
No,
right.
it isn't.
You know what I mean?
And you can't get a trophy for everything that you do.
Exactly.
And I think they started that. I think with my
See.
generation, even if the team didn't win first place, the team that got second place, we'll give you a trophy too.
Right.
Yeah.
So everyone has this. I need to be awarded. Everything needs to be acknowledged. And if it's not, that's not the real life,
Right,
though.
it's
That's
not
not
the
real
real life.
world.
And
Yeah.
so I think that's important as parents and as aunties and uncles and teachers and preachers in the congregation to really present a balance,
Right.
to the young people as they're growing and aging. I was thinking also, we can't have it both ways. We're really quick to, throughout the statistics and the stats of, the young mind is developing and, all the way up until 22,
20, yeah.
and we believe that, we really
Right.
believe it. But then on the other hand, once they do something that an undeveloped mind does, that's not an adult, throw away the key.
Yeah.
Right.
We're going to try them as adults,
Yeah.
or,
Oh, gosh.
you know what I mean? Or we give them responsibilities that they clearly cannot handle.
Yeah.
No.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And we do it. So it's like we want both things.
Yeah.
We want to accept that their brain's undeveloped,
Right.
but then when it's on the other end, you know what I mean? No,
Yeah.
they knew what they was doing.
Yeah.
Right.
They knew that I raised them.
Yeah.
No, it's still that adolescent. 19 is still considered what?
Is
Not
it adult?
teenager.
Nine-
I think
I
19, but not a teenager. But what they call it?
A young adult?
'Cause-
Because 19.
Yeah, 20, 21 is a young adult.
Yeah.
I think 18 and 19, you still
You still,
Yeah,
you
you
still,
still
right?
youth.
right. You're still you.
Because you have no life experience. I mean, on your own mostly,
Right.
you know, and if you don't, I mean, it's so loaded.
Right.
It's so loaded.
You still have some maturing to do.
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
if the brain is not even finished developing
No.
until like 22, then you
Right.
are clearly not
Yeah. People
Not
are still
ready.
impulsive.
fully grown, not
Yeah.
fully
No.
invested.
No.
Not,
Yeah.
you know
The
what I
brain
mean?
is just not.
It's such a serious conversation. What are some of the things that that are practical that you could tell parents that they can do to help navigate, especially, I don't know, something about middle school
Oh, okay.
is a
Yes.
real, middle school is like really vulnerable.
Yes.
It is.
So what are some of the things that parents can do to help? I don't want to say some things you can't prevent, but you can kind of cushion a little bit.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that they could do to help during those 3 years so that they can go into high school, on a stronger foundation?
Mhm.
For sure, being consistent.
Okay.
That's good.
One thing, because I started out counseling middle school kids,
Okay.
so it's definitely a whole different world,
Uh-huh.
and it's that in between space, like
Mhm.
you're trying to figure everything out. So being consistent, but also being a safe space.
Okay.
A lot of kids I've worked with, they would say, "Well, I want to talk to my mom about this, or I want to talk to my dad about this, but I don't want to hurt their feelings, or I don't want to make them feel like they're not doing a good job." So being that safe space and consistently showing them, hey, you can come to me. I may, not understand everything, but as long as I'm here,
Mm-hmm.
that's all I need. And a lot of the kids I work with say just wanting to talk to my mom. Like they would
Oh,
rather come and
yeah.
talk to me than their
Yeah.
parents
Yeah.
because they know I'm not going to judge you.
Yeah.
I'm not going to like jump down your throat about anything you do. Will I, correct things that you say? Yes. Will I correct like some actions I see? Yes. But at the end of the day, the love is still going to be there. And this is still a space that you can come to.
Okay. That's great.
Yeah.
How about you, Miss Rose?
I would say a few things. I will also say be available.
Mm-hmm.
I find a lot of kids, their parents are working a lot, and they're just, if they're online talking to people, or if they're kind of acting out, it's because they really just want that parent there.
Right.
Yeah.
So I would say be available, adjust your schedules if you need to, talk to them, and talk to them in a way that they need to be talked to. Don't talk to them in a way that you just want to talk to them. This is where we have that fine line between parent and not necessarily a friend, but keeping an open line of communication. And there are different ways you can do that. I have some parents writing a journal to their children. Some children, it's better for them to write than to actually speak.
Yeah.
And so I'll give them like a journal, and they can write down to their parents, say, hey, you can read this, and this is a no judgment zone. I can say whatever I need to say and get it out. I will also even say be proactive before they get to a certain stage. Make sure you're building that bond with them, outside of that. So I think what Finetta said is great also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Parenting is probably the hardest thing you'll ever do in your life. Is parent. And we've had a lot of accomplishments, I can say personally in my life, but I think one of the primary accomplishments for me, I can't speak for other people, is that I'm like so thankful that I raised good humans.
Yes.
And that they have good people skills.
Yeah.
And they have a sense of, I don't want to say grit, but because even though they were raised in church, we didn't shelter them. And so they have a real keen discernment with just how the world works.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
And so I'm grateful for that. One of the things that we did is that we gave them permission. We literally sat them down and gave them permission and said, if we're not available, and there's going to be times when we're not available, this is who you can talk to.
Yes.
And we
That's good.
picked specific people for them. Like Kathy was one for my daughter, Crystal. And, and there was maybe about 2 or 3 women. And then for my son, and then of course they had their grandparents. So we knew that they had a good community, but it was a big thing for us as parents to be able to give that permission.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I
That's
mean?
good.
Because
Right.
kids sometimes, that's another stressor. Like they feel like they're violating the family code, or
Yeah.
they can't
Because
talk
the
to
Lord-
nobody.
Exact. The
You
Lord
betrayed
sees.
me.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's so, you know, and that was around middle school.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like if something happens, if you need to call somebody and you can't get a hold of us, or we're not there, call this number. Call, you know, and we kind of let them know. And it was like a whole deal. Like, you know, they didn't back then in their mind, they didn't know, and they gonna let us know.
Everything
They
you
gonna
said.
let us know. But we had to have restraint.
Absolutely.
Like we couldn't,
Right.
like, you know, like you said, a journal. I
Yeah.
couldn't find my daughter's journal and go, and I was reading in your room. I saw where you
And there are a
had.
lot of people. There are a lot of parents that do that,
Cannot do
and they
that.
completely violate the trust.
Right.
And I get it.
And the trust is gone
I
after
get
that.
it. However,
You have to be smart.
there's a way to do things.
Yes.
Right.
You know, there's a
Yes.
way
The
to do
trust
it.
is gone after that. I love when you said that, because that is when you talk to your kids, my thing was I had to change my response.
Yes.
Because I go from level 1 to 10. What? And I had to learn, okay,
Yeah,
my
have poker face.
husband say they ain't gonna talk to you because you do
Yeah.
too much.
Right.
So then I had to learn to just, go with the flow.
Right.
And then learn to receive what they said. And now as adults, they'll tell me mostly anything.
Right.
But when they were in that middle school, that was a timid time for them,
Right.
because my response, parents, we have to have the right
Yes.
response with
Yes.
our
That's
children, for them to
exactly.
trust us and for
Right.
them to feel safe coming to us.
And you know, and if we just be honest, Kathy, like mines are fully in their 30s, and I still got to have the right response, because I mean, like I find
get
out
it.
stuff, and I'm like,
I have to get in the
What?
counselor mode. And my daughters are just
You
3
live
and
with
5.
me?
Yeah. I have to get in the counselor mode. I have to say, okay, so who showed you? I have to go back to my interviewing class and say, okay, how do I pick this question so where I'm not leading to a certain answer, but I have to leave it open to where they could just tell me.
Yes.
Yeah, that there.
Yeah.
That's
So,
association.
you know, we can't really, we can never underestimate the power of a safe space
That's right.
for
Exactly.
mental health.
Yes.
So even as parents, we have to hold space for our children so that they can share freely and release some of the cares of the world that they're living in. Because everyone's having an experience. You're having yours as an adult, and they're having theirs as a child. We're at the end of our episode, but I wanted to make sure to say this. If your child, if their behavior is unsafe, if your child's talking about wanting to hurt themselves or hurt someone else, seek help immediately. And you can text 988, and that'll get you right to the suicide hotline. It'll get you right to a counselor. And so that's so important.
It is.
And thank you for being a part of today's Sister Friends conversation. We hope that we've given you some information that can help you create a safe family and raise safe children. So thank you. And don't forget, Something to Sip On is next. Thank you for joining me and Kathy at the Sister Friends table. It was a great conversation about our children being in crisis and their mental health. Continue to advocate for your children, and let's build a better family. Thank you, and I'll see you next time. This is Something to Sip On. That was a great episode, and I want to leave this thought with you. Focus on God, not your problem. Listen to God, not your insecurities. Rely on God and not your own strength. You're going to need them to raise those children. Kathy, what are you sipping on?
What I'm going to sip on?
After that,
I'm going to say this. Your child's life matter. can't be embarrassed. If they come to you, be that safe place for them to go. And remember, response is everything. When they come, you can't go from level 1 to level 10.
All right, Miss Vanetta.
I would say show grace. Just
That's
as
good.
you would want somebody to show you grace, be that for your kids, because they are learning, they're growing, and they need you to be there to show them that it's okay to make mistakes.
That's good.
All right.
That's good.
And Miss Rose, you have the final
say.
word. Yes.
Here, we believe in Jesus and therapy too. It is okay to be a Christian and a believer and also get the mental help that you need.